In this video, I'm going to explain and explore using Product 8000. Over here on the left, we see that Product 8000, the title shows it Electrical, Commercial, Industrial, Labor Only. Labor Only here indicates that it does not have material pricing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just click on the plus sign next to 8000, and it will display the subcategories. So again, all the items in Product 8000, all the category items in here, you have to get quoted from your wholesale house or different vendors. So without reading all these, you want to look through these, peruse them, and look them over. I'm just going to touch bases on a couple of them. So just right here is where your panels are. See this? Panels 100 amp to 400 amp. And down below that, a couple items is switchgear up to 4,000 amps. So when you're inputting, or let me say this, you have to input your panels and circuit breakers and switchgear here to capture the labor. Again, I'm going to show you at the end of this video where to input the pricing or the quotes that you get for that. Now just scrolling down real slow here, I'm going to scroll down. You'll see that there's motor control centers here. VFD or VSD, the variable frequency drive or speed drives right here. Again, labor only. Motor controllers, light fixtures, etc. Going down here. Here's one I'm going to touch on in a minute. Circuit breaker termination labor. Wire termination, okay, starters, and so on. Now let me scroll down here a little further. If you have to estimate transformers here, automatic transfer switches, I did that out of order, bus ducts, cable tray, all that stuff is in here. It's a good idea for you to come peruse this stuff, just go drill down into it and input some stuff. I'm going to scroll back up to the top. We're going to touch on panels 100 amp through 400 amp. So here I'm going to click on panels 100 amp to 400 amp. When I do, it'll populate down here at the bottom. Now I'm going to move this line over to unsquinch it so I can read this information at the bottom. So at the bottom, we see different panels located down at the bottom here. There's 100 amp main lug only. It shows different amperages, and voltages, okay? I'll scroll down real slow, but what I do is I just go to the panel schedule and a set of plans, count all my panels, circuit breakers, and switchgear, and then I come here in Product 8000 and input them. Now I'm just going to scroll up here. I'm going to put in hold on a second. There we go. I'm just going to put in a 225 amp panel here, 120, 208 volt. I'll put in a quantity of 1. And I'm going to click Add. When I click Add, it populates to the right. After it populates to the right, I click Save. Now after it saves, I want to just look at the input here. Notice it shows a description of the panel, and it shows the same description that was located on the left. But after that, it says see quote. When you see the word see quote, it's a note to yourself that you need to get that item quoted. Okay, it's going to spit out labor only. So here we show a quantity of 1. Shows the unit price 0, okay, because it doesn't have pricing. It shows 4.89 hours for each, okay? So that's what the program output was for labor. Next, I'm going to just navigate away from here to switchgear, and I'll show you that one. So on the left, what I call the big boy panels are switchgear up to 4,000 amps. On the left here, I'm going to click on that. Do the same. 11006 switchgear up to 4,000 amps gear support. Now after I click on that, it displays the products at the bottom here. Now notice I'm going to scroll down on this, but notice it starts with gear supports, then after that 100 amp, 200 amp, 300 amp, and so on. Now I'm going to go right to the underground pull sections here. So here's the key to inputting big switchgear. You want to count each section and put each section in individually. This here starts with, on the left, 400 amp underground pull section, 600, 800, and so on. This has switchgear up to 4,000 amps. So again, I go into the panel schedule typically, or the single line diagram, I go count all my panels and switchgear, and then I go input them in Product 8000. Same with circuit breakers. So let me show you that just real quick. I'm going to imagine in this video that I have a 1200 amp system. So I'm going to put in one 1200 amp underground pull section. I'm going to scroll down, look for a service section, which is actually a meter section. I'm going to go put in a 1200 amp meter section, and I'm going to say that I have one distribution section. So I'm going to go down and input also one distribution section, 1200 amp. Now next I'll click add, and when it populates to the right here, I'll click the save button. After it flashes, I see that it's saved. So again, we see that there's 3 entries. It put a line space between each entry. It put 3 entries with labor only. We see that the underground pull section has 4.6 hours. The service section has 11.50 and distribution 6.90. Now this doesn't include circuit breakers. This is just the time it takes basically to stand those sections up, bolt them together, tie them together, torque them down. That's what this labor is for. Next, I'm going to show you circuit breaker termination labor. I'm going to scroll down here a little bit. It's right here at 11015. I'm going to click on circuit breaker termination labor. Again, I recommend you do the same. Just go input some circuit breakers and see what the outcome is. So I'm going to click on it. It populates the circuit breakers down here at the bottom. I'm going to unsquinch it so I can read it. So you'll see that it starts with 15 amp 1 pole. And I'll just scroll down real slow. It has circuit breakers 1 pole, 2 pole, and 3 pole, clear up to 4,000 amps. So anything that your guys have to, or you have to lay hands on to terminate in the field, you want to make sure you input those circuit breakers here. I'm going to scroll up to the top here. I'm just real quick going to put in some 1 pole circuit breakers. I'm going to put in 10 1 pole 20s. I'm going to scroll down to the 2 pole. I'm going to put in 2 2-pole 30s. I'm making this up, right? But I just want you to see how it works. I'm going to scroll on down. I'm going to put in a couple different sizes of 3-pole circuit breakers. I'm going to put in one 100 amp and one 250 amp. Now when I'm done, I go here and click add. And when it populates to the right, I go up here and click the save button. So again, I'm going to unsquinch this or squinch it back. And again, it shows the output or the outcome. It shows labor only for each of these circuit breakers. See here, here, and here. These are the line items that I put for circuit breakers. This one shows 0.17 minutes. It's, I should say it's 0.17 hours, which is about 10 minutes. So, and so on, okay? So when I began this video, I was explaining that I'm going to show you where you'll input the price of the circuit breakers and panels, meaning you get a quote from your wholesale house and you input that into the recap. Now I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but it's good for you to know this. So I'm going to have you click away from here, then I'm going to bring you back, okay? But I'm not going to give a lesson on the recap, but I want to show you how to get there. So when you watch the video clips in order, it's going to show you this, but click on the recap button now at the top right. I am not going to take the time in this video to explain the recap. I will say the way to learn the recap is to go up here and hover on video. If you're estimating residential or commercial or structured cabling, watch the specific videos for that. You're going to hover on commercial in this case, and you're going to hover on recap complete. Oops, okay, here, let's start over. Commercial, recap complete. This is a list of videos that you will watch to learn the recap. Now I'm getting ahead of myself. I wanted to show you one thing, and that one thing was where to put your quotes. Okay, so I'm going to move away from here. So let me point out the total column here has different numbers in it. The second number down is an underlined 0 when you start out. Now I'm going to go down to the next underlined 0, and we're going to look over the left. It says material and quotes including tags. So I'm going to show you this just real quick. You click on the underlined 0 and it opens a window. Now this window is where you input your quoted materials. In my instance, I said that I was getting a switchgear quote, okay? And I put a bunch of panels and switchgears and circuit breakers in there. I'm going to imagine I got a price back, and I'm just going to type it in, $3,544. Now, don't ever put commas in Red Rhino, okay? Let it do it itself. But then I have to click Save and Close. Okay, and when it flashes here, I see that it put in a figure. Now, what it did was it actually added taxes to this. Okay, I'm not going to get into any deeper in that, but this is in the recap is where you go put your quoted materials, your fixture quotes, your switchgear quotes. You do that in the recap to capture the cost. In the takeoff, you input the items to capture the labor. Now, I'm going to help you navigate back. Just click the estimate button at the top right. It'll take you back to the estimate. Click Takeoff Edit here in the section name at the bottom, Edit Takeoff on the right, and it'll take you back into editing the takeoff. Okay, now I was in the product 8,000, so to go back there, you'll just click in the plus sign next to 8,000 or however else you want to navigate. Okay, that's it for this. I wanted to explain product 8,000 for commercial industrial.